After week 2 of the Arkansas high school playoffs, we're down to just a few teams here in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley who will survive week 3. We take a look on this week's special Thanksgiving week edition of Prep Rally.
You're watching the Prep Rally Podcast.
Welcome to the Prep Rally Podcast, sponsored by West Termite Pest and Lawn. I'm Graham Thomas with the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Rick Fires in the house in Fayetteville with me here in the studio, and Leland Barclay joins us from the River Valley. Gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving.
Man, appreciate it, man. I tell you what, I'm going to blow up about 40 pounds over the next few days. So, hey, that's okay.
And,
go ahead. I love Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a great time, and I'm already getting hungry. So we'll talk more about that later, gentlemen. Week 2 of the Arkansas high school football playoffs was a fun time. So let's dig right into it and look at last week's games, and then we'll get ahead to looking at the games this week of the teams we have left. And we're kind of running. It's getting to be a narrow field here, Rick.
Yeah, it always does that. We're just glad to have some teams left up here, because it's from all over the state. You got the teams up in Northeast Arkansas, a lot down there in Central Arkansas. So we got about 4 or 5. So that's good. Well, and we'll ride them till the season's over.
All right. Well, let us all, and this is, I think, one that all three of us can comment on, because the South Side, Fort Smith South Side at Fayetteville game. Rick and I were both at it. Leland, I'm sure, has probably seen a lot of it, and what an exciting game it was. Fayetteville was winning 30-10 and looking like they're about to run away with this thing. Then all of a sudden, Southside scores. Boom, onside kick. They score again, and it's 30-24. And then, boom, they get a defensive stop. And all of a sudden, the Mavericks have got the ball with a chance to win the game. And I'm telling you, out down there on the sideline, it was getting a little weird there, Rick.
You know what? We talk a lot about the Fayetteville offense and with Drake Lindsay, great core receivers. But I don't think Fayetteville wins that game without the 3 turnovers that the defense got. And there was just like you said, I'm about trying to write my story, and I said, delete, delete, delete. It was not, with 30-10, you thought they were going to win that rematch easily, and they just hung on right there. Great job by Southside keeping competitive, but the bottom line is Fayetteville wins the game. Now they get the game they want.
Well, the big play at the end, you talked about the defense, and they had an interception and then a fumble recovery in the third quarter, which I believe led to field goals.
Yep.
Isaiah Taylor's interception in the last 2 minutes, sealed the win for Fayetteville, and the Purple Dogs were able to run out the clock. Now they get Conway again in a much anticipated rematch. We've kind of been talking about the Fayetteville Conway game from last season all year. It's kind of been the motivating factor, and we'll dig into that again. Leland, just kind of on the outside looking in, you thought that Southside would hang around. Now, when it was 30-10, I don't know what was going through your mind, but the final score certainly, and they had a chance to win. And that, I think, at the end of the day, you can't really, if you're Kim Dameron and his kids, you can't ask for much more than that.
No, I saw the comments. You did the follow-up for us in the River Valley Democrat-Gazette, and it was very complimentary of Southside, which was deserving, of course. They lost the 1 touchdown game to Rogers early to start off conference play. They lost by field goal to West. So, Southside has been just real close all season. Of course, that's kind of indicative of the competitive nature of the 7A West.
Yes.
And they were certainly there in the mix of it. They lost to Fayetteville by 2 touchdowns. And I think that game kind of gave them some momentum and some confidence going into Friday night's semifinal game. It took a little while to get going, but I think the telling stat in this, and like Rick said, they don't win that game without defense and 3 turnovers. Obviously, the third one kind of clinched it. But 41 carries for 117 yards on the ground for Southside, I think, is the telling stat in my eyes, at least.
Yeah, and the Fayetteville has caused trouble for most teams' running games all year, and when you hold Southside to 117 yards or so, That's well below their season average. And but I'll tell you what, man, they Carter Zimmerman made some throws there late in the game.
And Leland just talked about what Southside had. Now counter that with what Fayetteville. I'm convinced Fayetteville lost some games last year because they did not have a running game. I can't. Maybe it was Rogers. They could have ran the clock out, and they just couldn't get a first down on the ground. Now Christian Setzer has been huge for Southside this year. I thought, 143 yards on 24 carries, a touchdown against Southside. So they got that balance right now. So that's just a great job of Fayetteville realizing where their weak point is and then taking care of it. And the guys up front, the offensive line, my goodness, it's just standard. They never get enough credit, but they opened up some holes. And Setzer, he follows his blockers. I watch him, and he doesn't just burst right through there. He kind of zigs and zags and just sets up his blockers very well. And the quarterback, quarterback Drake Lindsey, he had that little dome around him on a lot of those passes right there. So just a great job of adding some balance to that Fayetteville offense.
One thing that
and I think that rushing game for Fayetteville bodes very well going into that Conway game, because obviously Donovan Amalo and Drake Lindsey are two of the best quarterbacks in the state. They're going to be playing college football next year. Amalo's already Conway's all-time leading passer. Drake Lindsey is about to become is about to throw the most touchdowns ever in Class 7A in a single season. But I think the thing that may set that game apart may be Fayetteville's newfound running game. And it looks like you said, Christian Setzer has kind of established himself and gotten used to being the running game, because Fayetteville may have the best rushing attack going into Friday night's game of the two teams.
Well, and the one thing I've thought about, and this kind of hurt Fayetteville on Friday night, Nathan Cockle kicked 3 field goals for Fayetteville. That was huge for them, and ended up being the winning margin. But Fayetteville had a third and fourth and short. They couldn't get a first down at the beginning of the second half. Could have put Southside away, if they're able to convert there and score, or if they're able to get touchdowns instead of field goals. And so, while I know they're grateful for the job Nathan Cockle did getting the field goals, they want 7, not 3. Over in Bentonville. So Bentonville takes a 42-14 victory over Cabot in another quarterfinal game. Carter Nye with 431 yards passing. He threw touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. The Bentonville Tigers roll. They've looked good really ever since Carter Nye has come back. That's 2 games now. And boy, they've got the tough assignment this week. They're headed to Bryant. And then a couple of other 7A Class 7A playoff games we'll mention here. The Rogers Mounties fall at Bryant, which sets up the Bryant-Bentonville matchup. Rogers, that'll be a 8-4 year for them. And I know they had some really high expectations this year. Maybe even trying to get to 10 wins or more. Couple breaks go the other way against them, and maybe they get there. Bentonville West put up a heck of a fight against Conway, and that sets up the Conway Fayetteville matchup. So, Rick, kind of what are your thoughts on some of that?
You know what? Everybody loves the underdog. Everybody loves, especially the NCAA tournament. Everybody loves the tournaments, teams you never heard of coming and beating the top seed. But right here in football, I like the opposite this year. The Final Four in 7A, Arkansas's largest classification, the 4 best teams. That's the 4 best teams. You got Conway, Bryant, Bentonville, and Fayetteville. And the 7A Central is kind of taking it from the West, bragging rights last few years. So here's your opportunity, 7A West. You got Bentonville and Fayetteville, number 1, 2 seeds. Conway and Bryant, they think they're top dogs down there. So I really love how this is played out.
So Shiloh Christian makes the long trip over to Jonesboro, and to no one's surprise, they defeated Valley View, got off to a hot start offensively, and Bo Williams had a big night for the Saints. So the Shiloh Christian Saints move on to Pine Bluff this week for a 5A quarterfinal game. Elkins, man, they were up 49-0 at halftime, and it's just it's not a surprise, but you're just still impressed with what you're seeing. You know,
You know what? I watched that Clinton game, and they were way ahead in that Clinton game. They were way ahead in this game, but I don't think they're going to be way ahead in this next game. I know we can talk about that later. They have to go. Even when I lived in Pine Bluff, I thought going to Warren was far. You just go through the piney woods and dodge all the critters crossing the road, and all of a sudden you get to a little opening, and a big old giant lumberjack greets you there in town. So that's quite an assignment down there. Isn't that where they're playing at?
who's that?
Elkins?
They're playing at
No,
Central Arkansas Christian.
Oh, okay. Who's playing at Warren?
Ozark.
Ozark.
We'll get to that one in just a little
Ozark
bit.
is playing at Warren.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other game involving a Northwest Arkansas team, Gravett, was defeated pretty soundly at Rivercrest. But I tell you what, I'm happy for the Lions. So
Good year.
They had a really good year, and I think football in Benton County is just a lot more fun when Gravett's winning and being a part of the conversation. So, well, down in the River Valley, Greenwood rolled all over Mountain Home. I don't think anybody was surprised by that result. Van Buren, while it did lose at Little Rock Christian, did put up a lot of points, and so good to see a good competitive effort there from the Pointers at Little Rock Christian. But unfortunately, their season is over. In Class 4A, Ozark with a home win against Lincoln, and the Hillbillies just keep winning ball games, and they're going to have a tough one this week at Warren. Boonville beats Osceola, and then Charleston unfortunately falls at Boonville. I'll ask you to comment on that one just a sec. Or Charleston falls against Bismarck. I'm sorry, and I'll get Leland to comment on that one. I think first we got to talk about Mansfield. I mean, the helmet's right behind you there, Leland. Mansfield Tigers, and with a goal line stand to win at Hoxie.
I think they definitely earned the claw marks on their helmet this past week, going all the way to Hoxie, winning 14-13. They were up 14-7. They had a trick play where they bounce a lateral to Peyton Martin, who threw a 36-yard touchdown pass to Daniel Burton on 4th and 13 that was actually the tying score to tie at 7-7 going into halftime. Then they took a 14-7 lead on a touchdown run by the quarterback. Hoxie scored late in the third quarter, and Turner Wright blocked the extra point to leave the score at 14-13.
Wow.
Then Hoxie took over with 4:28 left in the fourth quarter, had a 1st and goal at Mansfield's 6 with 1:35 left. They gained 4 yards, then 1 yard, and then Mansfield stuffed them on 3rd down on a sneak, and then Hoxie kind of fumbled the snap on 4th down, and that ended it. Mansfield took a knee and came home, took a nice victorious bus ride home, 4 hours, 14-13 win.
Man, what a win for the Mansfield Tigers.
You know what? And I think Leland's pointed this out before. I kind of got caught up in all the offense, all the statistics, all the numbers. Leland's pointed out this time of year, you don't get to Little Rock without playing some defense. And that right there, I've been up to Jonesboro and Hoxie and Walnut Ridge. It's hard to get up there and go up there and win that game and show the fortitude for a goal line stand, a game-winning goal line stand. It had nothing to do about walk-off. It's a game-winning goal line stand right there. So congratulations to Mansfield Tigers.
And, Hoxie, I mean, they were undefeated? I mean, they've had a really good year, and they've been good for a long time.
Yeah.
So I've been to Hoxie as well. I mean, it's
right up there by Missouri border, up in northeast Arkansas.
It's way up there, and just the trip alone is impressive. But Leland, you were at Charleston, and unfortunately, the defending champs are done for the year.
Charleston was up, defending state champions, but very few starters returned off that team. I think they had 4 on each side of the ball coming back. They were up 27-7 midway of the third quarter before Bismarck mounted a big comeback. And, we knew that going into that game that was going to be I thought a classic. Bismarck's very good. Their only 2 losses all year was to Glen Rose in their conference, and then to Prescott in the first game of the year in a non-conference game. So obviously Bismarck was very good. Very good quarterback, Ben Keithley. He threw 4 touchdown passes and ran for another. Now Charleston still got to the to the Bismarck 4 and was stopped on 4th down with 37 seconds left.
There you go, another goal line stand.
Goal line stand. Yep.
I'll tell
Defense.
Well, and Booneville with a big night over Osceola, they won handily. The Bearcats are moving on to South Arkansas this week at Camden Harmony Grove, and we've talked about Ozark, and we'll get into that in our next segment because I know Leland's going to make the trip to Warren this week to go watch the Hillbillies play the Hillbillies and the Lumberjacks. I love it. Oh. So, well, guys, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll look at this week's playoff games.
Stay on top of all Arkansas Razorback sports with a Digital Plus subscription on the Hogs Illustrated app. Get complete Razorbacks coverage in one location. Your subscription gives you 20-plus issues of Hogs Illustrated magazine, the most unique and compelling coverage anywhere in the state, plus total access to all the content on WholeHogSports.com, including breaking news, commentaries, analysis, features, recruiting, award-winning photos, and premium message boards. Subscriptions start at just $17 per month. Join the Hog Sports Network team at subscribe.waco.com. That's subscribe.wehco.com. Or call 479-684-5509 to get your front row seat to Arkansas Razorback sports. Go Hogs!
Welcome back to the Prep Rally Podcast, sponsored by West Termite Pest and Lawn, Thanksgiving edition. Man, I love it. Thanksgiving football, Thanksgiving just all goes together, and we're gonna dive in here into the playoff matchups for this week, and we're gonna start in Class 7A. There's only 4 teams left. Rick Fires already mentioned 4 best teams in the Class 7A: Conway at Fayetteville and Bentonville at Bryant. So let's talk about Conway at Fayetteville, Rick, and let's just call it what it is. Fayetteville got embarrassed by Conway last year.
Absolutely, they did.
And that's going to be on their minds all week this week about, we can't let that happen again, but they're going to get a really good football team coming in here.
A while ago you combined football with Thanksgiving, and yesterday my wife hands me a list, say, "Oh, Ricky, we need this. We got to get some all this Thanksgiving stuff." And I'm saying, "Oh, Rhonda, I'm so sorry. I got to work. I got to go with Fayetteville." And I emphasized I got to go, and I couldn't wait to get there. I enjoyed it. It was fun. They practiced for about 2-3 hours over there. The kids were just, you saw the smile. It's just it's so thankful to still be playing. You can be thankful a lot of time, but these kids, they've worked all summer long to get to this point, and they were jumping around. They had the music in the background. It rained on a little bit. Not a frown anywhere. They still enjoyed it. It was fun, but Fayetteville would take care of business too. They'd working on special teams. Even the onside kick, which is this time of year, it could be something like that, and showing the proper way how to recover an onside kick. So a lot of fun, a lot to be thankful for, yet they're trying to take care of business. So I enjoyed going over there and watching that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that too. Shameless plug for our sports staff here, but Henry Apple is writing a story about, the tradition that very few teams get to have of practicing on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
And we'll have that in the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette on Thursday morning.
Yes.
Be sure and check it out. We have the other semifinal in Class 7A. We have a rematch of the 7A state finals from last year. Bentonville at Bryant. Only, this time it'll be, instead of War Memorial Stadium, it'll be at Bryant. And, Bryant handled Bentonville pretty handily last year in the state finals. But, Leland, I think you got a little bit of a hunch that Bentonville's going to keep this one pretty interesting.
Well, I picked in our preseason or pre-playoff show a couple of weeks ago, I picked a resurgence of the 7A West this year, and I'm sticking by it. I think it'll be Fayetteville and Bentonville in the state championship game.
Wow.
For a couple of reasons. Drake Lindsay is just unbelievable, having a great year, 49 touchdown passes. He's about to become the first quarterback ever in the state's largest classification to throw 50 or more touchdown passes. They've got a resurgent ground game. Christian Setzer, I think, is finally, he's a converted receiver, but I think he's finally settled into that spot, and they're going to have the best rushing attack of the two teams on Friday night. And then, of course, Jason DeLamar. I know Conway's got Chris O'Neill, who's really good, but Jason DeLamar is just, I think, on another level as a receiver. And as far as Bentonville and Bryant, Carter Nye, senior quarterback, that experience is just invaluable. And I think Bentonville plays defense too. So I think it'll be Fayetteville and Bentonville in the state championship game.
Wow, wouldn't that be something? The
Yeah.
return of the West. In Class 6A, Pulaski Academy is making the trip over to play Greenwood at Smith Robinson Stadium. PA won at the buzzer, walk-off win at Marion, a 1-point win. Is one of those it kind of sounded like a game that Greenwood would win too, quite honestly. But Greenwood handled Pulaski Academy pretty good in the first matchup this year, so you'd like to think that maybe Greenwood would again. What's Chris Young telling you over there at Greenwood, Leland?
Well, the PA week, as everybody calls it, is always is different because teams have to work on stopping fourth down because that's crucial to PA's offensive game plan. And of course, the onside kicks. I forget what Kevin Kelly told me a few years ago. Their record was if they recover 2 or more, they win about 95% of the time. And of course, if they recover 3 or 4, it's over. I mean, that's just a huge difference. We've talked all year how the best 3 teams in Class 6A is Benton, Little Rock Christian, and Greenwood. And it's still that way. But the PA and maybe even Mystique always adds a little bit different to that game. And they're the kind of team, because of some of that stuff, that is always scary.
This is the 4th time in the last 2 years they're going to play. They played twice last year, and this will be twice again this year. So they've seen enough of each other. And, going back and seeing how PA won, at Marion on the last play of the game, a 27-yard pass, just unbelievable. So that's what the playoffs is all about.
Leland talked about the mystique and a team lesser than Greenwood would be, oh my God, we're up against PA and they do these onside kicks and they've won all these championship games, string of championship. But that doesn't affect Greenwood. They know who they are. They've matched up with them. Greenwood's going to have a lot of confidence, and that's what the playoffs are all about. Just like you said, the top teams going at each other, and you're meeting them again twice. So that's just another great game in this area.
Hey, Greenwood's got some mystique too, if I might add.
Absolutely. Football town.
And another team I think that's got some mystique when it comes to in the playoffs, because I've done this a couple times myself, but it's really difficult to go over to Pine Bluff and win at Pine Bluff in November, and the Pine Bluff Zebras are going to host Shiloh Christian in a game that it may be the best game in the state. Just offenses going at it, Rick. I think you wouldn't really care for it, but
no, I don't mind the offense. I want to see some defense. I don't want to see 60-55 games. I've seen some of those. But here's the thing about Pine Bluff. I worked down there in the early 90s when Marion Glover was down, Lee Hardiman at Dollaway. But they've kind of lost some of that mystique. And Shiloh Christian, they know how to win. They know how to go anywhere in the state and win. So looking forward to see what the outcome of that game would be.
And Class 4A, Elkins with the tough assignment. Maybe their toughest assignment of the year. They got to go to CAC.
CAC, yeah.
So Central Arkansas Christian,
they've got that great quarterback that committed to Arkansas.
They do. And, Elkins has, we've talked about the boys all year, Dizzy Dean, Deshaun Chairs, Pookie Townsend. Just a great cast of guys for the Elkins Elks. And then, of course, the mascot game here, the Ozark Hillbillies against the Warren Lumberjacks. And so,
Love that.
Leland, you are going to be in the house at Warren for this one. And, I know you kind of gone back and forth about, where you'd like to go watch a game this week, but you settled on Warren Ozark. Tell us why.
Well, first of all, I've never been to Warren in, I guess, 41 years of covering high school football. I've never been to Warren. So that was certainly appealing. And the fact of just, going to Embry land is just, an added bonus, I think. And the fact that Ozark's very good. Ozark has a chance to win this game. There's been some in Class 4A is just always so good and so wide open. And there have been some great quarterfinal and semifinal games. And I think this is one of them. Ozark has seen just about everybody through its history, all those teams, McGee and just all those teams. So this game was just really intriguing to me because Ozark's very good. And I just think this is going to be one of those classic games. And of course, Jackson Denton, the quarterback for Warren, he's put up better numbers than any freshman quarterback ever in this state. But I tell you, Kobe Wilbanks, what a performance he's had this year. And they've got a defense to go along with their offense. So I think this is one of those classic matchups. I know 7A and 6A and 5A are all in their semifinals, and all of those are going to be great games. But I think other than those semifinal games, this is the best matchup of the week, in the other classifications.
All right. Well, I've never been to a game at Warren myself, so I'm kind of envious on that regard.
You know what, Leland? I've covered games all over the state, and there's something about covering that game at Fordyce. Paul Bear Bryant, they're down there in the woods, and you can just feel the history. But when you go to Warren, it's a like going back in time 40 years, and I think you're going to enjoy it down there watching that. Just be careful with all the critters crossing the road coming down there and back.
Well, and my son's already hit 2 deer in the last week and a half, so I will be extra leery of them for sure.
Class 3A, you got Boonville is headed to Camden Harmony Grove, and that's a long trip for the Bearcats, and you get to this part of the playoffs, and it's just everybody's good, and you got to go win some road games. How about this one? Mansfield is traveling to Salem. I mean, what a trip that's going to be! Wow. I think we talked about before on the podcast. That I've made that trip to Salem before. I was going from Jonesboro to Salem for the 2004 and 2005 football tabs we did over there, and it's very, very difficult to get to.
And what Mansfield went to Hoxie and did it, so they just got to turn around and go almost same way back up the hills.
So tough road games for both the Boonville Bearcats and Mansfield Tigers. So that's kind of the wrap on the schedule part for this week. And, guys, I'd be tickled pink if we're still talking about all these teams again next week. That'd be a lot of fun. So we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to do our top 5, including our bonus, which I'm really excited about, the Thanksgiving edition top 5.
If you're enjoying this podcast, consider a newspaper subscription to the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette or the River Valley Democrat-Gazette. We have a special offer for our podcast listeners, so visit nwaonline.com/podcast23 to get started. You can also click the subscribe button on our websites, nwaonline.com and rivervalleydemocratgazette.com, or call us at 479-684-5509 and be sure to say that you're a podcast listener. Now back to the show.
We're back with Prep Rally, and we're sponsored by West Termite Pest and Lawn, and we're going to get into the top 5 of the week. And at the end of our top 5, we got a special little treat for you guys for the Thanksgiving bonus edition. So, Rick, why don't you start us off with top 5, Class 7A?
Okay, you got to start off with Fayetteville 30-24 over Southside. Fayetteville looked like they're rolling. They had 30-10, but man, Southside got going. And I don't think Fayetteville wins this game without the 3 big turnovers by the Fayetteville defense. Also, a lot of props to Christian Setzer, 24 carries, 143 yards, a touchdown. Fayetteville now had the reliable ground game to go with it. Just an outstanding passing game. Drake Lindsay, everybody knows about him. Jason Delamar, but man, I keep looking. I say, who is this receiver? Who's that receiver? They've got 7, 8 guys that catch passes over there. Go back to Bentonville. Bentonville 42-14 over Cabot. Another big night for Carter Nye. 431 yards passing, 4 TDs. And here's a name I really hadn't heard of very much. Luke Kuhn. 10 reception, 162 yards, a touchdown. Of course, everybody knows about C.J. Brown. He had 112 yards receiving, not only a couple of catches. He took a direct snap for a touchdown. They're using the old philosophy, put the football in the hands of your best player. That's what Houston Nutt used to do with Matt Jones and C.J. Brown, outstanding athlete. Jumping into, I'm still zeroed in on football, but we got basketball. We got to recognize some basketball. The Fayetteville boys are off to a 3-0 start, and they got a home opener against Mountain Home. Going to be eager to get out and see the new edition of the Purple Bulldogs.
All right. Leland, how about it, man?
Well, number one, of course, player of the week, Rick wrote about Kobe Wilbanks, the junior quarterback from Ozark. 244 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. But like he pointed out in the story, he also did it on defense with 2 interceptions and 7 tackles. And then special teams, he returned a punt, 45 yards for a touchdown. So great performance by him and the Hillbillies. And, of course, their reward is a trip to Warren now. And the Greenwood Bulldogs, just kind of continue to roll along. After a bye week, which coaches are always a little leery of that, especially playing somebody from their conference that's coming off a big first round game. But 56-14 over Mountain Home, 5 touchdowns in the second half to blow that one open, and they remain undefeated at 11-0. Their balance has just been fantastic all year. When they're running the ball and passing the ball, they're impossible to beat. They rushed for 258 on Friday. Passed for 288. Braden Davis, 184 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. And now they get PA at home. Mansfield, 14-13 win at Hoxie on the road. A conference champion. Peyton Martin with that 36-yard touchdown pass to Daniel Burton. Was a big touchdown, of course, and a blocked extra point and a defensive stand was the difference. And they go to Salem now. And then Booneville. How about this? Jace Washburn, junior quarterback for Booneville. He was 3 for 4 for 125 yards, 3 touchdowns, all to go to Matson of 50, 24, and 51 yards.
What is his quarterback rating on something like that?
That's pretty efficient passing the ball.
Wow, man.
And, of course, Dax Goff ran for, 197 yards. Put him over 2,000 for the season for the second year in a row. They now go to Camden Harmony Grove.
Who's the stat guy at Booneville? It should have been kind of updated. Like, coach, he's only at 197. He just needs 3 more to get him to 200. I mean, we got to be more aware of those things.
And then props to Van Buren, too. They had 81 offensive plays for 443 yards and 27 first downs on Friday night in the loss to Little Rock Christian, 52-28. But, Little Rock Christian is just so efficient. They never punted, and they had no turnovers.
Wow.
And, of course, Walker White, 4 touchdown passes. So they're going to be playing in the semifinals this week, at Benton.
I just think about the great quarterbacks. You got Drake Lindsay up here, who's committed to Minnesota. Walker White committed to Auburn. As much as they're losing, I don't know if he's still committed to him. But we got great quarterbacks all over.
I mean, there are a lot of good quarterbacks that are still playing ball. All right, so top 5 for me. I'm looking at Shiloh Christian, going to Valley View and taking care of business
Yep.
like I think we all thought they would. Nothing against Valley View, just Shiloh can really, really score and score quickly. And I felt like Valley View would have a tough time being able to stop them. Um, Elkins, 56-6. They had 49 at the half, and it sounds like it could have been even worse. You look at their stats. I mean, they weren't just over. They weren't just they were good stats, but they weren't, the 500 yards passing that we see sometimes. But they kind of got it all done in a half, and
Yeah, kind of
yeah.
just go to the sideline and enjoy it.
Now, guys, I'm gonna break out of Northwest Arkansas here and truck on down to Pine Bluff and give you this stat. Pine Bluff quarterback Landon Holcomb completed only 9 passes in their win against Hot Springs Lakeside. I think they beat them 41-28.
Yep.
He completed 9 passes for 469 yards. I don't know if you saw that one, Leland.
I did.
That was
because I did a double take on it.
I mean, 52.1 yards a completion.
So he just dropped back near the goal line, let it fly, and let one of them speedsters run under it.
Courtney Crutchfield, the receiver for Pine Bluff that Arkansas wants,
Yeah.
and he had one for 93 yards. I think another one for 50. I think he totally had like 260 something yards. It's in my notes. I'm responsible for the Shiloh Pine Bluff capsule this week, so I'm sure that the
9 complete. How many attempts? Do you have any idea?
13, I think.
9 out of 13, 400 plus. Yeah, wow.
So, and then the coach, Michael Williams, I think is his name. He goes, yeah, he was really sharp tonight. So, yeah,
I would say so.
So were his receivers.
Yeah. A little bit of basketball here, and I'm a dip. We got basketball going all over the place. I was at Lincoln yesterday for the Turkey Classic, but Cortland Muldrew for Springdale Harbor had 39 points last week against Maumelle. That opened my eyes.
That's good, yeah.
Then he had 34 against Bryant. In both those games, Harbor won. Harbor's got a good basketball team, so watch out for the Wildcats. And then Henry Apple kind of cued me in on this one about the Bentonville boys cross country team. They took second place at the NXR Regional Championship in Texas over the weekend at the Woodlands. That's down in the Houston area.
That's the Houston area, yes.
Yep.
Big time.
But that qualified them for the Nike Cross National Championships in Oregon next month. Now, the fun part about this, the kicker for Bentonville High, Ryan Fernstrom, is also a cross-country runner. So he kicks, all the extra points for Bentonville on Friday night. They get in the car, drive all night to Houston. He sleeps the whole, or however long he slept. And then he gets up and participates in this race and was one of their top finishers to help them qualify. So I thought that was a pretty cool deal.
That's dedication, yeah.
So, and then so that's the top 5 for me this week. And now, boys, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's Thanksgiving week, and everybody has their favorites and their dishes and all. And so what I'd like to get, and we'd like to get your top 5 dishes, and we're kind of putting turkey and ham off to the side because we kind of figure everybody's going to mention turkey and ham, although I'm a smoked turkey kind of guy. I like a fried turkey too, but I've never done one before. So, Rick, why don't you start us off? What's your top 5 for Thanksgiving dishes?
Well, I like the tradition. One year we tried a Mexican thing. I said, no, this is not happening again. So we're going back traditional Thanksgiving. Turkey, man, I just like it straight out of the oven, like just pull it out of the oven right there. I love that. Mine, mashed potatoes and gravy, of course, no lumps in it. I think everybody used to get on to me because somebody make mashed potatoes with lumps in it. I'd send it back to my aunt or something. Oh, Ricky's got to have it, no lumps. So I love mashed potatoes and gravy, no lumps. Cool. Green bean casserole for me, the stuffings, and to me, the chocolate pie. I'm a big chocolate pie guy at Thanksgiving. So if I got all that right there, I'm going to be happy.
All right, Leland.
I this is the only time of the year that I just love turkey. I don't like the sliced processed stuff that you get, in the
No.
deli. I love the big chunks of turkey, and evidently from what I've heard through the years, I guess maybe this is a little unusual. I don't think it is because I've always eaten it this way. I like ketchup with my turkey.
Ah,
Man,
that is maybe
You know,
you're a
I
little bit odd.
I mean, it's
That's
meat.
good.
It's just like eating
Yeah.
chicken strips. I mean, it's
Okay.
meat, and I'm a meatitarian, and I like ketchup. So
Okay.
I just think it's, Jennifer's family at first, they just, because I asked, "Hey, do you have some ketchup?" And they asked, what are you putting ketchup on?" So anyway, I like ketchup with my turkey. Um, and then as far as pies, I love pecan pie,
Mm.
but I am a, coconut cream pie guy, and
Yeah.
Jennifer's family's always real good about having me a coconut cream pie too. And as far as the other stuff, green beans I love, corn I love, but I'm not going to eat that purple stuff.
no cranberry sauce.
No cranberry sauce.
No, I'll pass on the purple stuff. I didn't even know what it was. I'll pass on that. But turkey and ketchup.
Well,
All right, Graham.
and I'm in agreement. You got to have the dressing, and we don't do like some people do an oyster dressing. That's kind of weird. We just do like a, just dressing,
Yeah.
and I do go for the purple stuff. So the turkey, the dressing, and the cranberry all kind of works together for me.
Yeah.
I've got to go with you, Rick, on the green bean casserole. I
Yeah.
mean, there is just something about, the green beans and the soup and the fried onions
Cream and
and
mushroom soup. Yes.
oh
yes.
man, that's good stuff.
You got-
Deviled eggs.
Yeah.
We do deviled eggs at Thanksgiving, and I'm a big
You do
deviled
that little
egg person.
paprika or whatever. That
Yeah,
little red stuff.
the wife puts that on there and does a good job. This is going to be a little bit different, I think, but growing up, we always and mom and dad always watch the podcast. So please, I hope you guys will appreciate this. Broccoli and cheese. And
Yeah.
cheese sauce. Now, I struggle to eat broccoli unless it has cheese on it. So
Okay.
broccoli and cheese sauce is just something I always grew up having on Thanksgiving. And nobody really even mentioned the rolls. I think we get.
Oh, that's a given too.
So
You
I
gotta have
I
rolls.
didn't have it on my list either because there's always so much. I like a good roll. Don't get me wrong. Look at me, but the rolls. I mean, they're going to be there. And then just for dessert, I'm a pumpkin pie kind of guy. With
With
some
that whipped cream on it? Yeah.
You just take the pie and then put the whipped cream all over it, and then you cut into it, and then there's like this little orange spot in there where under the whipped cream. So, well, folks, I hope you're all hungry now and ready for Thanksgiving dinner because I sure am.
Let me relate to a lot of us work during the Thanksgiving holidays, whether it's basketball tournaments or especially Friday night. I'm clear across the state from where my family is over there near Jonesboro, Osceola. My mom used to, Ricky, are you coming home for Thanksgiving? I said, Mom, I gotta work. I got these football games. And then and I said, by the way, I'm having a great Thanksgiving with the Bushes and the Swansons. Oh, are they good people? I said, well, Mom, it's Swanson TV dinner and Bush beer. And she, so, but, it's good to be with your family if you can, but, we'll be working a lot too. So combine the football and Thanksgiving doesn't get any better to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, I love to, we have the Thanksgiving dinner, then turn on the Dallas Cowboys and watch them play awful and maybe pass out and have a nap.
Yeah. So when you guys like to have it? Is it? I've been to some my wife's relative family. They like to do it at 4:00. I'd rather do it like 11. How about you?
Yeah, that makes it tough on the people preparing it though. They got to get up the crack of dawn and get that thing going.
Well, get up and get it done.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, if you eat at 11, then you get to eat again later.
Yeah.
So.
Watch football game. Detroit Lions. For once, they're going to be deserving of a Turkey Day at 8-2. So I'll be looking forward to seeing them and the Cowboys.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you guys, and everybody be safe on the road as you're traveling. And if you're traveling to football games, especially be safe. Folks, you can listen to Prep Rally at nwaonline.com. You can watch it on YouTube, or you can get it wherever you get your podcasts. We'd like to say a special thank you to our sponsor, West Termite Pest and Lawn. be sure and look out for Prep Rally Live a little bit later this week as Rick Fires and I give our picks for some of these playoff games. I'm sure it'll be entertaining. And once again, happy Thanksgiving to all. We love you.